Hey guys, Tearless here inside Guild Wars 2. The Heart of Thorns expansion is really close, and I would love to give you guys a preview of the new changes that are coming to all the professions in Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns. Especially, I would like to look at the elite specializations and the brand new profession that will be coming, the Revenant. However, before I can do that, I really need to go through and explain some of the new changes that have been brought to Guild Wars 2 over the past year so that you're not completely lost in those videos. In the last year, ArenaNet has decided to kind of change how leveling and specialization works, so I would like to kind of look at that so that you're not completely lost. If I open up the Build tab, you can see this is very different from what it used to be. It used to be 5 trees, and you would spend your points throughout those trees to create your build. That is no longer the case. Now you have your skill bar here, and then you have 3 specializations. Before, you were given something like 14 points, and you were able to choose, okay, I'd like to go, 4 points here, 6 points here, and divide them up however you want. You could even go into all 5 trees. That is not the case anymore. Now you have 3 options. You can only choose 3 options. You must stick to those 3 options. You cannot go into all 5. And you can choose 1 in each one of these trees along the way. So I'm in Death Magic right here on my Necromancer, and I have a minor for each one, and then for each tree I can switch to each one. It's just like a little flow chart. So not much difference there. There were a lot of abilities that were taken out of the game. For instance, Ricochet for Thief pistols has been removed from the game. Some have been condensed. They felt that they were essential and that pretty much everyone took them. So an Elementalist always went into the Arcane tree for Blasting Staff. That is now baseline for a staff, so you don't have to go into that now. So they've condensed some abilities, removed some, and now give you 3 viable options for each one of the trees as you go throughout your specialization. Now you can still choose any one of the 5. You can only have 3 active at a time though. So you can see I have all of them active right here. Or not active, excuse me. I have all of them here that I can choose from, but only 3 of them can be active at a time. Now you should note that when you enter the game for the first time, if you haven't played for a long time, they will attempt to kind of bring back or match your build to what you had in game as best they can, and they really kind of do a terrible job. So you have to go back through and look at all the talent trees and choose which one are the best and which one you want to have. And that also means that you must go through and retrain, because they only train you in the stuff that they felt that you were a part of. Even if you had acquired everything, you no longer will have all of that anymore. So in the training tree, you'll notice that there's a lot of things that I have not trained. Even though I had everything when this change went into effect, I no longer have it anymore. If you look down here at my utility skills, I'm missing several abilities. I'm missing every single signet. I'm missing several corruption abilities, a few wells. They're all missing because they made some, they made these changes, and then they only trained you in the stuff that you actually have. So this is the new training tree right here. And as you can see, there are no skill points. So those blue chevrons that used to be here are no longer here. If I open up this map here, you can see that the hero point here is what it's now called. It used to be a blue chevron. It was called a skill point. That's no longer the case. It's now known as a hero point, and they're known as hero challenges. So that's just a small change that they made to the game to, I honestly have no clue why they changed that, but that is the change that they've made. They're now training points. So moving back in here, I'm going to go back into my talent tree in the training, and they have these circles, and this is how you train through them. So you have to go around this circle. So if you really want Signet of Undeath, you have to go through all the way. It's kind of similar to how the old utility skills used to be gated. You used to have to choose, okay, Like I really want this one at the bottom, but I've got to have, 5 of these, 3 skill point ones, and then 5 of these 5 skill point ones before I can even get to the one I really want. This is kind of the same, except for you can just go straight up the tree that you want. Now, if you are coming back to the game and you notice that you're missing a lot of stuff, as I am here, notice that they did refund the hero points, so you basically just have to go in and train everything. So I'm going to show you right here. I will train through my signets, and it increases throughout the time, as you progress throughout the wheel, the circle, and then it completes the circle once you have gotten everything. So if I go back here, you'll notice that now I have access to all my signets. Pretty simple. So same thing with corruption. You can go through and get everything pretty easy. Notice that your elite abilities are also here. So you're going to have to do this if you want to get to some of your elite ability, your elite skills that you do not have. And see, here's the flesh golem. So now I'm getting access to them all through this tree. And the last one that I didn't get is the wells, which are my favorite. I don't know why I didn't have all wells equipped, but now I have them all. So that is how you acquire your utility skills now, is you do this through training and training points. Now this also applies to specializations. If you notice back in the build, if I wanted to change to a like soul reaping here, I couldn't because I have not trained through that yet. When I was spec'd before, I probably was only really spec'd into death magic, curses, and spite, and so they did not even bother training soul reaping or blood magic for me. So you go through, these circles are much larger for this, and you train all the way through. If you notice in the build, you have a minor followed by 3 majors, minor, 3 majors, minor, 3 majors. And that same progression follows throughout this. If I were to bring in, I don't have it. As you can see, it brings it up. I will go ahead and train into one of them so you can see, and I will switch into that tree, blood magic. You can see every single one of them is locked. So I go back, I'll train into another one, and I'll have access to the first one here. So that is how you're going to train through these trees. And I'll go through them, build it up. It increases throughout the time, and then just like the utility trees, it fills in the circle. You have a minor, minor, and minor separated by the 3 majors for each tree. So you're building up, kind of in the same direction. I'll do this for soul reaping as well, and then I'll have access to all of my talents once again. Now, the only other thing that I need to mention about the specializations is you can choose any specialization. You switch back and forth between them. And as I said, it's like a flowchart. You kind of just choose your way, and it will constantly blink at you until you finally choose a talent, so it's kind of annoying. So fill them in, and you can change them whenever, just as long as you're out of combat. It's pretty simple. Much easier than having to, click a drop-down menu and look at everything. Now, these two, you can change your specialization, but know that when the Heart of Thorns expansion drops, this is where you will activate your elite specialization. So for the Necromancer, they will have a Reaper, and right here in the 6th spot, it will have a Reaper, and it's only active down here. You cannot put the Reaper here or here. It's just down here, and it already says core and elite specialization. So if you want to become a Reaper in Heart of Thorns, you will come down here and you will click the Reaper specialization, and then you will build out throughout that. So that's how you will do it then. Now, just a few other things before I've pretty much covered everything. Notice that the weapon panel is now pretty well organized on the left hand side here. Very easy to access all of them. Very condensed, and they made the icons smaller so you can see everything all the way through. Here are your slot skills, your utility skills, healing skills, and elite skills. They all now appear here, easy to find. This is really kind of condensed, and it's simplified. It looks really confusing at first, the specialization chart, the flow chart, and everything, but once you kind of get into it, you'll realize that it's a lot more simplified. It just looks a little bit more confusing because it's not what you're used to. The last here is the traits. The traits are now really easy to see all of them and what they do, all the minors and then the majors that come after them. makes it a lot more simplified. So if you're looking for something or you just want to read through all of them, this is the place you go to. So that is everything. As you can see, I've trained through everything and I still have 66 points left. So I've got, plenty of points to spare. You should have plenty of points to spare if you trained through everything before on your character. It should now, you should have plenty of skill points, or not skill points anymore, excuse me. You should have plenty of hero points now to spend through and train everything you need for your class. Otherwise, that is everything regarding the changes in Guild Wars 2 for specializations and leveling up. I hope you guys are going to enjoy Heart of Thorns. I will start looking into the elite specializations now. I just wanted to make sure that this was covered so that you guys were not confused in those videos. Otherwise, I will see you guys later. TLS out.